Okay. So, buyer's remorse has already started to set in. And depending on the reason why these people voted for Trump, I'm not going to have any sympathy because you should have known better. But anyway, Muslims who voted for Trump upset by his pro-Israel cabinet picks. And again, what world do you live in that this is a surprise? Seriously, during his first administration, he was not exactly the champion of Palestinians. I fail to see why this is a shock. This is a man who moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Because that's not going to cause problems at all. Seriously, what rock do you people live under? I understand that Biden has been shitty when it comes to the war in Gaza. I understand that. But I don't know where you got the idea that Trump would be any better. At least Kamala Harris is a reasonable adult. You can convince her that what is happening sucks ass and that she should, not authorize more weapons for Israel. You can do that with her. You're not going to be able to do that with Trump. I mean, I just do not understand what these people were thinking. I understand they want the genocide to stop. Understandable. But, the war Trump's gonna ensure that the war ends, but not in the way you guys want. So, again, what the fuck? But anyway, let's get to the article. U.S. Muslim leaders who supported Republican Donald Trump to protest against the Biden administration's support for Israel's war on Gaza and attacks on Lebanon have been deeply disappointed by his cabinet picks, they tell Reuters. Well, boo fucking who? Again, you knew what Donald Trump was like. I mean, seriously, you can see that the war in Gaza is going badly and that Biden is still authorizing weapons. The Biden administration is still authorizing weapons, but you can't dig further into, Trump's first presidency and to see that he's not going to be any better and most likely worse. I'm not sure why. I mean, I understand the uncommitted movement during the primaries. That made perfect sense. That was to give a message. Understood. The general, however, I mean, not just, you're not just against the Biden administration's policy on Gaza. You are actively supporting Trump. You guys are morons at the utmost degree. And I do not feel sorry for the fact that you guys are now realizing what abject morons you guys really are. Trump won because of us, and we're not happy with his Secretary of State picks and others, said Rabul Chaudhry, a Philadelphia investor who chaired the Abandon Harris campaign in Pennsylvania and co-founded Muslims for Trump. Again, boo fucking who? I'm sorry. Yes, think the Biden administration's policy on Gaza sucked ass. Absolutely. But thinking that an impetulant toddler who moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem is going to be better for you? This is a man who had a Muslim ban in his first term. Granted, it was overturned because it was obvious discrimination's obvious, but that should kind of told you that, you would still be better off with a Harris administration. So I feel sorry for the Palestinians in Gaza who are going to have to deal with the bullshit and, hopefully not starve to death. I do feel for them. I do not feel for you dumbasses who thought you were doing a good thing. I mean, I just do not understand where you got the idea that Trump was reasonable and that you could influence his policy because you voted for him. Number one, he never gave a damn about Muslims, except when it came to, being racist towards them. Number two, he is now a lame duck president. He doesn't, now that he has a second term, he does not have to go in front of the voters anymore. So what little shit he might have given to the people who voted for him, he gives even less now. And I think that was in negative numbers to begin with. So, remember when he said he likes the poorly educated? Congratulations, you just are his useful idiots. Muslim support for Trump helped him win Michigan and may have factored into other swing state wins, strategists believe. Trump picked Republican Senator Marco Rubio, a staunch supporter of Israel, for Secretary of State. The fact that they name-dropped him, the Secretary of State, and not Mike Huckabee is actually very surprising. Earlier this year, Rubio said he would not call for a ceasefire in Gaza and that he believed Israel should destroy every element of Hamas. These people are vicious animals, he added. Okay, now, definitely not going to defend Hamas. Definitely not going to do that. But that is not what's happening. They are leveling Gaza under the claim that Hamas could be anywhere. This from a group of people who, after the Munich massacre happened, even years later, we had Mossad going into other countries and assassinating those they believed were part of the, Black September, Black October, I can't remember the name of the group, that was responsible for the Munich massacre. So Israel does have the ability and the intelligence to go after the individuals who were behind October 7th without leveling an entire country. And now they're trying to level 2. So, yeah. And, it's really rich that Marco Rubio would say that about another minority group, because if you weren't kowtowing to Trump and kissing his ass constantly, you would be one of those that he would want to get rid of because you're brown. I just never understood how minorities could support someone who thinks less of them than the crud under their shoe. It just makes zero sense. Anyway, Trump also nominated Mike Huckabee, a former Arkansas governor and staunch pro-Israel conservative who backed Israeli occupation of the West Bank and has called a two-state solution in Palestine unworkable, as the next ambassador to Israel. Yes, it's unworkable because he thinks that it should be all one country, that Palestine doesn't exist, that it's Israel. And actually, he used the biblical names because he's that crazy. But he honestly thinks that Palestine does not exist, which is also a biblical name, which is why it's very, very bizarre that he thinks Palestine doesn't exist because it's literally in the Bible. Palestine is a thing in the Bible. Just one more, just more proof that evangelical Christians pick and choose. Well, most Christians pick and choose, but whatever. So, yes. Yes, I, again, do not understand how these people thought that this was a good idea. Alright, where was I? He also picked Republican Representative Elise Stefanik, who called the UN a cesspool of anti-Semitism for its condemnation of deaths in Gaza, to serve as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Exactly. Her definition of anti-Semitism is anything that goes against not just Jews, but Israel and the Israeli government. Now, obviously, there is rampant anti-Semitism. There has always been rampant anti-Semitism throughout history. That is not the issue. The issue is what constitutes anti-Semitism. And just criticizing Israel is not anti-Semitic. Nobody is saying, well, those in charge anyway, are not saying that the people of Gaza innocent people of Gaza should not be killed because they like Muslims over Jews. No, because first off, there are Muslims and Christians living in Israel, so this isn't just about being Jewish. There is that. And seriously, just because you acknowledge that innocent people are being killed wantonly doesn't mean that you're anti the people of Israel. I mean, nuance is a thing, but that's the thing about especially modern day Republicans. They wouldn't know nuance if it bit them in the ass. Okay, Reginaldo Nazarko, Executive Director of the American Muslim Engagement and Empowerment Network, or AMEN, said Muslim voters had hoped Trump would choose cabinet officials who worked toward peace, and there was no sign of that. What is it about his history that led you to believe that he actually wanted peace? I mean, he wants peace. Just not in the way you guys do. You guys want to be able to live peacefully side by side with Israel. Great. That is not what Trump wants. Trump wants whatever Bibi wants. Bibi wants to destroy Palestine. Bibi said it himself, that he isn't interested in a two-state solution. He wants everything to be a part of Israel. I do not know where you got this idea that because Trump wants peace, that means he's on your side. I mean, it's the same thing with Russia and Ukraine. He wants peace, but that doesn't mean he's a friend of Ukraine. And he showed that in his first term, and he's doing that here too. Where do you get this idea that because he's for peace, that meant he was on the side of Palestinians? I realize that there are some people who vote with very little knowledge of what's happening in the world, which makes me wonder how you can confidently vote one way or the other if you don't know jack shit about anything. But give me a fucking break. A lot of these people have Palestinian relatives. People who have probably lived long enough to remember the first Trump administration. How the hell can you think that this was a good idea? We are very disappointed, he said. Yeah, boo fucking who. The only thing I'm disappointed is that you guys are absolute dumbasses for voting for Trump. Now, you know, I do feel sorry for the Palestinians who have to go through this, but the people who actively voted for Trump, especially, no sympathy at all because you guys just are dumbasses. It seems like this administration has been packed entirely with neoconservatives and extremely pro-Israel, pro-war people, which is a failure on the side of President Trump to the pro-peace and anti-war movement. Again, this is not about peace for Palestinians. This is about peace for Israel. All he cares about is that Palestine no longer exists, that Israel can take it all over. That is what he considers peace. Why is this so hard for that to enter your pea-sized brains? This was never about you. Yes, he's anti-war. Anti-war in the sense that he wants Israel to win the war and completely obliterate Palestine. I'm not sure why this is so hard to understand. Again, what was it about his first administration that led you to think that, oh, he's going to be equitable for both sides? Seriously, where did you get that? Again, I understand why the founding fathers wanted only certain people to vote. And I'm not just talking about land-owning whites. I mean, exactly knowing nominally what each candidate stands for would be great. Knowing what he did in his first term would have been wonderful. Like moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, or the Muslim ban, or anything else. Seriously, it's not hard to look it up. Anyway, Nazarko said the community would continue pressing to make its voices heard about ending the war in Gaza. At least we're on the map. Are you sure about that? Because if Trump gets his way, no, you won't be. Because he hates protesters. Again, look at what happened in his first administration. You can see how he feels about protesters. And I'm not talking about rioters. I'm talking about peaceful protesters. So, again, where are you getting this? What drugs are you on that you think that he's going to listen to you? He didn't listen to you he wouldn't listen to you in his first administration. Why do you think he'll listen now? Hassan Abdel Salam, a former professor at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities and co-founder of the abandoned Harris campaign, which endorsed Green Party candidate Jill Stein, oh God, it gets worse, said Trump's staffing plans were not surprising, but had proven even more extreme than he had feared. That part I do understand. You knew that things would be fucked, but most of these appointments have to go through the Senate, so hopefully things will become, that hopefully the Republican senators will grow a spine and, not confirm every last one of them and just rubber stamp everything. So there's still a chance. A very, very slim one, but hopefully. But the fact that you endorsed a candidate that literally cannot win, are you kidding me? Now, viewers of this channel, subscribers of this channel will know that I'm all for third-party candidates. I think that is necessary because both parties have to, in order to appeal to the most voters, have to spread their wings so vastly that you're going to alienate some part of your group. Because both parties have to deal with moderates to the extreme. So third, fourth, fifth party candidates are essential. So people can truly vote for those candidates that truly represent them and their views. And so you have a better idea of where the country is when it comes to certain issues. I'm very much for that. Jill Stein, or basically any third-party candidate, by our system especially, cannot win. Because, number one, you have to be eligible to run in enough states to get 270, in which case you would have to win outright to get to 270. It's just, if you're not running in every state, you're not viable. So why even bother? Yes, our system should allow for all these candidates to be on the ballot in all states, all these national candidates, because then you would get a better understanding of what the voters value, what they think is the best candidate for them. Absolutely, I agree 100%. We are not under that system. And until we are under a system where it's truly about ideas and not just the two main parties, because at least allow them to debate the major parties. So just like in the primaries, when the winning candidate, starts adopting the views of other candidates who prove to be popular. It's the same thing here. Even if the third-party candidates don't win, at least the main candidates will see where the winds are blowing and what policies the people are behind. So, at least that. But we don't even have that. So, yeah. Endorsing a third-party candidate is you might as well not have endorsed at all, because you're not going to change the way you want. You're going to ensure that the person that you normally would have sided with loses. So, again, I fail to see how this is hopeful. It's like he's going on Zionist overdrive, he said. We were always extremely skeptical. Obviously, we're still waiting to see where the administration will go, but it does look like our community has been played. Because you let yourself be fucking played again. What was it about his first administration that led you to believe that he was on your side? I mean, just because someone says I'm for peace, that doesn't mean that it's an equitable peace. That just means that he's pro-Bibi. I mean, I honestly do not understand why you thought that he was reasonable about anything. It's just mind-blowing. Again, I understand now why Trump said, I love the poorly educated. He loves them because they're dumb enough to vote for him. The Trump campaign did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment. Well, there's a shock. Several Muslim and Arab supporters of Trump said they hoped Richard Grenell, Trump's former acting director of national intelligence, would play a key role after he led months of outreach to Muslims and Arab American communities and was even introduced as a potential next Secretary of State at events. Wait, so what you're saying is you got conned by an obvious con man. We know Trump is a con man. Why do you believe anything that comes out of this man's mouth? Ugh. Another key Trump ally, Massad Boulos, the Lebanese father-in-law of Trump's daughter Tiffany. I can't believe that's a sentence I just read. Met repeatedly with Arab American and Muslim leaders. Seriously? Wow. Now I'm starting to wonder if Trump didn't ask his daughter to find a Lebanese person to marry, a Muslim person to marry, just so it would look like he might be on their side or something. Because what the hell? I mean, I realize that Tiffany is very much under the radar when it comes to the family shenanigans. But it doesn't look like she was... It doesn't look like that family is any different or any better than Trump. Unless her father-in-law is that stupid and actually thought that this was a good thing. In which case, what? Again, you are definitely old enough to know what he did in the first administration. Why are you thinking this is a good thing? Both promised Arab American and Muslim voters that Trump was a candidate for peace, technically true, who would act swiftly to end the wars in the Middle East and beyond. Neither was immediately reachable. Shocking again. Okay. Again, yes, he is planning to end the wars in the Middle East and beyond. He does intend to do that. The question is, how? And based on his first administration, and based on what Bibi said, and the fact that he will give everything that Bibi wants, his idea of peace is to destroy Palestine, all of Palestine, the West Bank, the Golan Heights, Gaza, make it all part of Israel. That is his idea of peace. I do not know why people hear peace and think that it's the peace you want, the two-state solution. I don't see where Trump ever said he was for a two-state solution. I could be wrong. Maybe he did at some point. But then again, he also promises everyone everything. So there is that. Trump made several visits to cities with large Arab American and Muslim populations, including a stop in Dearborn, a majority Arab city where he said he loved Muslims. And Pittsburgh, where he called Muslims for Trump a beautiful movement. They want peace, they want stability. Now, it's entirely possible that Trump honestly believes that if Israel were to take over all of Palestine, that they would get that. I mean, the guy is really, really dumb. I mean, in some aspects, he's very cunning. But in many, many aspects, he's dumb as a brick. And when it comes to policy and the way things work with world leaders, he's dumb. I mean, it's just, I guess because he so wants to be a strongman and so wants to be an authoritarian who wants to be a protector, that he honestly thinks that minorities are going to be treated well. Even while he basically encourages the right wing to go all out in going after minority groups. It's very, very bizarre how he thinks both that it'll give stability and at the same time it won't. I just do not understand how he squares those. I don't know. Bill Bazzi, a mayor of neighboring Dearborn Heights who endorsed Trump, said he met the president like 3 times and still believed he would work to end the war despite the cabinet appointments. Again, yes, he does want to end the war. Nobody is disputing that. The question is, what's going to happen to Palestine at the end of the war? This is what people do not understand. It's not just about ending the war. It's what kind of peace are you going to get? And being under occupation and being treated like second-class citizens technically is peace. But is that the kind of peace you actually want? But, as you can see, some people are still fucking delusional. Rola Mackey, the Lebanese-American Muslim vice chair for outreach of the Michigan Republican Party, agreed. I don't think everyone's going to be happy with every appointment Trump makes, or any, but the outcome is what matters, she said. Which is true, the outcome matters, but again, I don't think it's the outcome that Palestinians want. So there is that. I do know that Trump wants peace, and what people need to realize is that there's 50,000 dead Palestinians and 3,000 dead Lebanese, and that's happening during the current administration. Counterpoint. Once Israel completely destroys Palestine and takes over the West Bank, the Golan Heights, Gaza, provided that, they don't keep, pushing Palestinians off their land, which we know they will, what peace is that exactly? Seriously, what peace is that? But what peace is that? Okay, great. Israel won the war. Wonderful. Do you think that the Palestinians, especially if Hamas is still around, actually, if any Palestinians are around, because all you're doing with this is ensuring that Palestinians hate the U.S. and continue hating Israel. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that your method of getting rid of terrorists is just breeding more terrorists. And if the Palestinians lose what little Palestine they have, I don't see why you think that they're just going to say, oh, well, we tried, and twiddle their thumbs as to do whatever the occupation gives them. Considering the West Bank and Gaza is already occupied and the way they are treated already, I can't imagine that they're going to have a fun time of it. So, of course, there's going to just be breeding more terrorists. And Israel isn't going to be more secure because, well, it's a terrorism of your own damn making. You would think our war on terror would have, given people some insight that maybe we should, not attack innocent people and make their lives so horrible that they're going to turn to the very terrorism that you thought they were doing anyway simply because they're Muslim. Simply because what else are they going to do? I mean, they have to live somehow. So anyway, that is the end of that article. And, yeah, I'm glad that they're getting buyer's remorse. The only thing that I was looking forward to in the second Trump administration is to see the faces of the people as they realize that the person they voted for is actually going to make their lives worse. That they aren't that not only is he not going to do what they thought he was going to do, that he's going to make things incredibly worse. So yeah, that is possibly the only thing that could come out of this that is actually can be nominally considered good. Personally, I would rather that they never learned this lesson, but maybe it'll teach you to, do some fucking research. Anyway, that is all I have for this article and this video. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.